What's going on, blessed people? Back in this situation again. The Warrior Prince, Cadio, Joshua, whatever you want to call me. So, today's video is going to be about the Black Boule class. And I really don't like, getting to name callings like Coons or Uncle Tom's or any of those things like that. But there is a class of Black people in our society that, for all intents and purposes, they're not for our people. And one of those people, in my opinion, one of those personnel, in my opinion, is Roland Martin. Now, I I used to be a fan of Roland Martin back when I, was, starch, forward Democrat and all this other stuff, until I actually start to educate myself, because you have to get past the buzzwords or the what am I what's the word I'm looking for? You got to get past when people say things to just try to rile up your emotions. You know what I'm saying? You have to actually step back and actually do the research. And you have to take the research and then you have to apply it over to your life and see how it fits you best. And so that's what I did about 6-7 years ago. And I realized that the Democratic Party was not a party that was pro-Black people. I realized that. Like, when I looked at the policies and I looked at how they are affected us, when I looked at the policies and I looked at how they affected us, I'm just like, we've been losing for a long time in the Democratic Party. We are effectively the Democratic Party's side chick. They give us all these promises, but they never leave their wife. Ain't that's how these men do? They make these side chicks all these promises, but they never leave. Side chick fall for it every time. So, me realizing that at core I'm a conservative, and if the truth be told, most Black people are. Most of us are conservative, and which means we don't like big government. Most of us don't like big government. We don't like government in our lives, intruding into our lives. But we've been convinced, because we only really live in a majority two-party system in America, we've been convinced the other party is a party of racists. So is what we have, that mentality is we can't be with them because they're racist, so we must be with these people, even though the stuff that they're giving us has been extremely harmful and detrimental to our community. Now, one thing about Roland Martin that I will give him credit, he's highly intelligent. He's a very intelligent person, so I'm not taking that away from him. But there's a certain thing called intellectually dishonest. And so Roland Martin and other Black Democrats, they typically participate in being intellectually dishonest. So let me just get into this whole thing. There was a young man, I can't remember his name. I'm getting ready to pull up the video. 21 years old. A 21-year-old African American man decided to take it upon himself to start a boarding school for Black boys. And Roland Martin decided to bring him on his show. Now, Roland brought this young man on his show. And I was appalled. like I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I was absolutely appalled at how he treated this young man. Because you see, we the older generation, we're supposed to be encouraging the younger generations to be freedom fighters. We're supposed to be encouraging them to think outside the box, and we're supposed to be encouraging them to do what is best for our people. We're supposed to be encouraging them to be a better version of us. We're supposed to be the trailblazers. And when we see another young person come behind us and take up the torch, man, that's something that we're supposed to get behind. So this young man said he and another group of teenagers, I just want y'all to understand, Fred Hampton was only 21 years old when they killed him. That was probably seeming a little bit, but Fred Hampton was only 21 years old when they killed him. And this young man is 21 years old. 21. And he decided, you know what? The government is failing our young black boys. So I'm going to take it upon myself, which he was already doing, because come to find out, he was bringing young kids into his homes, and he was teaching them and all this other stuff. So he just, okay, let me do this more on a broader scale. Let me do this more on a professional level. This is what he was doing. So he decided he was going to do this. And instead of Roland Martin coming to this young man, what do you need? Roland Martin got pulled. The only thing that Roland Martin, instead of him coming to this young man, say, what do you need? I got pull. I got connections. I can get you connected to people with resources that can help you push this further. Because truth be told, black boys, and not just black boys, but every boy, because our school system has been feminized. Every boy we need private schools. We need boys only schools. We need boarding schools. We need these things. This young man did this, and instead of Roland Martin saying, hey, let me help you, he decided to tear the young man down. And there was another interview I watched, because last night I just decided to watch Roland, and another one I watched with Umar Johnson. Now, I'm not, I don't run around carrying my Umar Johnson flag, but one thing I can say about Umar Johnson is this: I believe that he loves his people. And Umar Johnson is a Pan-Africanist. I'm also a Pan-Africanist. That's why I speak a lot of the ways that I speak. So I seen this interview, and I'm gonna play both of these interviews on here, man. And it just had me baffled. Like, it really had me baffled. And it just really let me know that our people have Stockholm syndrome. Our people have Stockholm syndrome. And we're in love with our captors. and it just let me realize that. But let me get into the video. Let me go ahead and play them. Let me get into the video. Enough talk. Let's get into the dissecting Roland Martin's old jacked upness. Let's get into the dissecting that real quick. All right. So let's get into the video.
Sit black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland. Joining us right now is King Randall One founder.
Notice he got on the African pattern shirt. I was going to call it a kente shirt, but it's not a kente shirt. Notice he got on the African pattern shirt. Got the African colors, the theatrics.
Founder of the X for Boys organization based out of Georgia. So, King, explain why in the world you're conservative, correct?
Yes, sir.
So, please explain to me why this bill, why Republicans.
Y'all see that? He asked the young man, was he conservative? He said, yes, sir. Now he want him to explain why Republicans are doing something a certain way. Just garbage.
Are pushing for a voter suppression bill when last year we saw record turnout in Georgia. Record turnout. So why would they want to restrict voting when you just had record turnout in Georgia?
Well, let me start off by saying you had me mistaken. I'm not a Republican. I do consider myself conservative.
No. Actually, I didn't say Republican. I said you're conservative.
Okay.
I said you're conservative.
Right, absolutely.
That's what I said.
Right. Yeah, I was saying that because you called me a Republican on Twitter. However, with this particular bill, I don't consider voting my particular fight. I do consider voting a asset to us and maybe something we can use as a tactic to help. But as far as us pushing voting all the way out, like voting is going to be some systemic change for the Black community, to me is not the way to go. If you look at the human anatomy of the body has as many different parts. And I do respect you guys' fight, you know, in regards to voting, but I don't consider myself fighting for the right to vote that much.
Do you not vote?
We hadn't got anything.
Do you not vote?
Government. Yes, sir. I vote. Absolutely.
Okay, so when you say you guys' fight, first of all, there are multiple fights, there are multiple issues we can be concerned about. Voting is one of those issues. Are you not concerned that Republicans in your state are trying to restrict access to the ballot for no reason other than they are pushing the lie that Donald Trump also pushed?
Right, absolutely. I understand exactly what you're saying. However, again, that's not my fight. I believe.
No. I know. I asked you a question. I asked you a question. And the question is this.
You see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? Okay, so Roland asked this man a question. This young man a question. The young man say, listen, okay, I respect you guys' concern about that. I personally don't believe that's the way to go. That's not necessarily my fight. I think voting can be an asset, but that's not my focus. So he answered Roland's question, but Roland want him to, because he's already said that he's conservative, Roland want him to answer for why the Republicans are trying to, I guess, limit voter suppression. I haven't really looked at it in Georgia. You know, I stopped voting a long time ago. So I definitely understand what the young man is saying, because voting people into power hasn't warranted us any change. That's what I seen. And so I pulled back on that and said, okay, I'm gonna have to come at this a different route. Now, my point of view is different from this. I think his name is King Randall. I applaud him. You know, do what you're doing. I think that is a great thing. You know, my method is a bit different. I'm going to reveal my method in a little bit.
This here. Do you believe Republicans in your state are wrong to be pushing this voter suppression bill?
Yeah, I see my dude smirk. That's that smirk of annoyance. Like, man, this dude here, sitting up here. No, I don't told him how I feel. He gonna ask me the question again.
Can you give me the list of things that's all on the bill? Because I know you said the voter ID.
Well, no, here's a perfect example. This particular bill right here gets rid of no excuse absentee balloting. Republicans in Georgia passed no excuse absentee balloting 15 years ago, thinking it was going to help them. They're angry because you had people who voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and also John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock won. So they're changing the law because they're angry they lost at the ballot box. But for 14 years, it was fine.
Let me just say this, because I just had this thought. You know, this is ridiculous from Roland Martin, because you got this man on your show. I'm assuming that, you know, he getting a lot of views and stuff. But you got this young man on your show. And the first question you ask him is about Republicans trying to push a voter suppression bill. And you want him to answer that question because he said he's conservative. And the guy said, listen, I never said I was a Republican. I just said I'm conservative. So instead of asking this man, asking this courageous, you know what I'm saying, innovative leader of 21 years being on this earth, instead of asking him about what he has going on, let me rewind the tape back a little bit. I want to show you something. This is the only time during this interview and the beginning of the interview that it even acknowledges what this boy is about, what this young man is about. Let me see, can I go forward again? The first thing you get him to try to answer, this is what it says. Look at the top. Roland grapples with black conservative over voting. That's how you gonna spin that. Like, that's how you're going to treat this amazing young man. That's how you're going to bring him on your show. And that's what you're going to say. You're not going to, you have a black audience. You're not going to even, you're not going to even bring up what he's doing. so people can potentially get behind and endorse and send donations to this young man's program that he has going on. He got a school. You're not going to even push that at the forefront. This is the reason why our young black men have lost faith in older men like Roland Jackson or whatever, Roland Martin, whatever his name is. This is why young black men have lost faith in the system, because you got a young black man sitting here trying to do something positive for his community because he's seen the need, trying to do something. Not to mention, I know the guy gonna say later on in the interview, I didn't watch all of it, but he's a veteran. So you got a young black man that has served this country come back home and try to do something positive for his community. And the first thing you ask him about is some freaking voter suppression laws that ain't got nothing to do with him. Let's continue because I can get in Roland's age.
And also John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock won. So they're changing the law because they're angry they lost at the ballot box. But for 14 years, it was fine until last year. Is that, again, do you consider that to be egregious on the part of Georgia Republicans? Why would they change the law because they lost? How about making a better argument for the voters?
I agree with you. I do. I agree with you. I'm not against you there. I definitely think that is an issue that I believe you guys could fight. But that, again, voting is not my issue to fight. I believe.
So what's your issue to fight?
Oh my God. You mad at the man because he don't want to fight the fight with voting? Come on, Roland. Sitting up there looking like you just got finished eating daggone dinner at the Sizzler.
I fight for young black men before they die. And that's what I do in my organization. I do teach them to vote, but I don't tell them that voting is going to be the be all end all.
No one says the be all the end all, but it's a part of it.
But you guys promote voting like it's just going to change like the systemic outlook of the black community. That's not where it's at. We have to get out and go do for self in our own communities.
So so define do for self.
When I say do for self, you shared one of my tweets, my videos, and I was actually a big fan of yours, but you shared one of my tweets.
Notice the was big fan. Can you imagine you looking up to somebody, you seeing him on television every day, you looking up to somebody like, man, he's a trailblazer, and then only to put your blood, sweat, and tears into something and for have somebody else crap on you, the person that you're looking up to crap on it. Come on.
When I said black people need to stop begging the government and go and do for self out in our communities, you shared the video and called me an idiot.
Oh, shoot.
Didn't see anything idiotic about that statement at all.
So when you say do for self, like what? Explain that.
Okay. For example, here in Albany, Georgia, we complain about our school systems a lot. Many of our young men can't read. They have very horrible literacy rates. We don't have any rehab programs here for juvenile offenders. What I decided to do, I started a program 2 years ago, decided to do for self. And I started taking children into my home. I started taking custody of kids from juvenile court, and I started molding them and training them and teaching them skilled trades, etc. Now I'm 21 years old.
Let me stop right there. Now, why ain't Roland promoting that? Why he didn't come on here at the first few minutes where he spent attacking this young man. You want to call him a boy? I apologize. Attacking this young man for something that he's clearly said, this, I ain't got nothing to do with that. This is not my fight. This is my lane right here. Trying to taking these young kids into my home, trying to teach them how to read, trying to empower them. This is my fight. Roland just spent the latter part of 3 to 4 minutes trying to get this boy. He ain't even get this young man. He ain't even studying. He's not even concerned about what this guy got going on. And he only asked him the question, what is your fight? So he can dismantle his fight. What this young man just described is amazing. For a 21 year, you know what you thinking about at 21 years old? I know what I was thinking about at 21 years old. I was thinking about fast cars and a nice girl. That's what I was thinking about at 21 years old. And most 21 years olds are thinking about that. They thinking about partying and all this other stuff. This young man is not even thinking of those things. He's thinking about helping the kids and stuff beneath him, behind him, the kids that are less fortunate. And you took 3 to 4 minutes on your program to try to pressure this young man to answer questions about Republicans' bills that they're trying to pass in the state of Georgia that he don't got nothing to do with.
Just purchased a school here in Albany, Georgia, to combat us being in the government-funded schools that are not teaching our children what they need to learn. So that's what I mean by do for self.
Facts.
Simply getting up and going out and do it.
So
I beat the stereotype that I'm young, black, in America, and I can't do anything because somebody's holding me down. Absolutely not.
So a question.
Teenagers went and go ahead. Me and some teenagers went and bought a school, and we just bought a school bus simply from going out and doing work. We decided to go fix our own communities. I'm not expecting anything from no politician. I'm not expecting nothing from Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or nobody. We're gonna go do it for ourselves, and that's what I believe we need to be doing. I can vote, sure, but nothing's gonna change in our community.
So you went to the juvenile court system. Mm-hmm. Is that not government?
See what I'm talking about? This is a clown, man. Out of everything that young man just said, out of everything that what he just said, what he and what he's about and his organization is about, you're gonna ask him a question to trip him up, to challenge his intellect, to make it seem like this young man don't know what he's talking about. Now, granted, Roland is significantly older than this guy. So I'm pretty certain that there's knowledge that Roland has that he don't have. But again, instead of saying that is amazing of what you just did, how can we help? Instead of saying that, he's challenging them again. Just listen to the contempt.
Absolutely.
So when you say purchased a school, and this school is going to be what? Private school, charter school? What kind of school is it going to be?
No, it will be independently owned. This will not be funded by the government.
No, that's why I asked you. So it's going to be a private school?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a boarding school.
A boarding school. And then for the folks to be able to afford to send their kids to the boarding school, what kind of mechanisms are they using in Georgia? Their own funds? Are they using school vouchers? What are they using?
I can't hear you. Say that again for me.
I said, what mechanism are they using to send their kids there to pay for the school? Their own money, or are they utilizing vouchers from the Georgia government?
Absolutely. So for our school, we're financed completely by donors. We have many donors that have given yearly endowments to our school that will be able to pay for these students to come to our school for free. Many people believe in our mission, and we're making sure that young black men, where we live, where we don't have any rehab programs for juvenile offenders to even get out of jail and stay out of jail, we have people that believe in our mission that are trying to send children to the Extra Boys for free. We have many people that are trying to send kids to this boarding school to be able to take care of themselves. That's what I mean by doing for self. We got to simply get up and do it.
So you don't believe that government policymakers play any role whatsoever in being able to impact the lives of black boys and others in Georgia?
If we take them out of that government system, we don't have to worry about that. I keep saying,
how is that? So no, hold on. See
what I'm talking about. Out of all that he said, Roland still ain't said, "How can I help?" Listen, man. Listen, and I'm gonna try to say this, with a level-headed, because I might get pissed off when I say this. Listen, it is not a mystery. The system is not designed to promote or to educate or to elevate black men. It only barely tolerates young black girls. But it's not. This is not an enigma. This is not a mystery. You don't have to use Blue's Clues. You don't have to actually search the daggone depths of the oceans to find this treasure. It is what it is. And instead of asking him, what can we do to help you? Because that is a truth. It's a truth. We keep going in here trying to beg these politicians to pass policy that will directly, not indirectly, directly affect our areas. They know what areas we live in. They're not crazy. They're not appropriating the money. They're not purposely writing bills with funding to target young black communities. They're not doing it. And what this young man is saying is that we can't wait on them. We got to take control and do it ourselves. He's saying to Roland, he's like he need a big Rolade, old funky self. What he's saying to him is that we can't leave our fate and our future in their hands. We have to take action.
Question. Hold up. Here's the question. Mm-hmm. How do you remove someone out of a government system when we all live in government systems?
Now you're Now you're being condescending. You know dang well what this young man is talking about, Roland. With your little condescending smirk. Bring me on your show.
Being literal, absolutely, we all live in a government system. Absolutely. However, you can do things to remove most government from your life.
How?
As far as trying to get yourself out of food stamps,
How?
trying to get yourself off of welfare. You got to go work. You got to get jobs. You got to get out here and go and do it.
So hold up. So I'm just curious. So if somebody doesn't have a job,
mm-hmm.
Are they not applying to government for unemployment benefits or insurance?
Absolutely.
So how can that person remove themselves out of government when that's what government provides?
See, I'm talking about, this is the very reason why our people stay heavily reliant on government assistance. This is the reason why see what I'm saying? He's saying it's a process. We got to start the process. We got to move away from relying on the government because the government has proven to us it doesn't have our people's best interest in mind. You don't believe me? Let's take a trip back in time. Let's go to the Avengers and ask them, can we borrow their time machine and go back and see the systematic laws that were put into place that was purposely meant to derail and defund and to keep our people in the lower class. This young man is not saying anything sideways or silly or retarded, none of those things. He's speaking facts. And what he's saying is, I'm tired of waiting for the government to come for me. If y'all want to wait, if that's the way you want to do it, team on 3. But I'm not doing that. And Roland sitting up here smug, condescending to a young pioneer. And instead of saying, you know what can I do to help? Because he said it earlier, we can attack this thing from all angles. This is one angle that he can attack this from. If y'all want to be on the front line of voting and all this other stuff, if you want to keep trying the same system that has had your people oppressed since we landed here, do that. But what he's saying is not by the hair of my chin. But Roland don't want to look at him sitting up there looking like I'm saying, look at him. Just looking like he need to take some laxatives or something.
Absolutely. Well, my thing is trying to make sure you're not allowing the government to finance your whole entire life. As long as you're giving somebody the right to feed you, you're giving them the right to starve you as well. People are living their whole lives off the government systems. It was the day the government decide, well, we're going to cut food stamps. We're going to cut this and cut that. What we going to do? We have people out here living off those systems. So I believe in teaching our people how to go survive without the government. That's my biggest thing.
But again, though, you keep saying, I'm trying to understand. You keep saying how to survive without the government. You act as if a young black boy who comes into your program will not interface with government in any way. They will interface with government.
You know what?
Still driving.
Let's move on to the next video because Roland. Listen, you have a young man saying we need to be less reliant on the United States government and be more self-reliant on ourselves. Now, that's why he said he's a conservative, because most conservatives believe that little government. I am a conservative. I believe little government. I don't want people in my business. So you got this young man saying we need to be less reliant on the United States government. And Roland Martin challenging him as though this logic isn't sound. He just actually said something that was pretty profound. He said, the people who feed you are the people who can starve you. I'm quoting him, but just hear me. Which is what he's saying is you don't rely on your enemy or a person who is proven that they don't have your best interest in mind to take care of you. You do not rely upon them. So we need to be self-sufficient as a community. And the very reason why we can't be self-sufficient as a community is people with the funky mindset like the Roland Martins. And unfortunately, it's more of them than of this young man. That's one of the reasons why I say the black community is doomed. There ain't no black community no more. I applaud this young man's efforts. I really do. And matter of fact, I'm going to find out where I can donate to him, because I'm going to donate money to him, and I'm going to continuously donate money to him because he has said, I am going to take our children's reliance of government away from them. We're going to teach them how to be self-sufficient. And that's something that I preach on this channel, especially with black men, to be self-sufficient, self-reliant. Dang everything that everybody else has told you. This is how you need to move. Now, I personally don't think nothing that we do in the United States of America is going to work, because we were brought here not to be citizens of this nation, but to be the burden bearers of this nation. When they wrote the Constitution, it wasn't written for us. That's why those laws, that's why we keep getting those same laws that apply to other Americans don't apply to us. That's why we don't have the right to bear arms. Some of us got guns, but the right to bear arms, most of y'all have y'all even read the Constitution? The Second Amendment for the right to bear arms? It was supposed to be against an overreaching government. So the government never subjugated its people. That's why the citizens are supposed to have the right to bear arms. Point blank, period. But those laws don't apply to us. They don't apply to us because there's a mentality that says you are not human. So those laws don't apply to us. And as I said a second ago, I don't think, and especially with my beliefs and who I am in the Most High, because I see it in the Bible, there is nobody or nothing that's going to be able to get us out of this condition but the Most High. And it's not going to be the way the Christians said, where Christ is going to come down on a cloud and all that other stuff. No. It's going to be us leaving here. Everything that we've ever tried to do as a people has been disrupted. Black folks don't want to rely on nobody else. Everybody talks about Black Wall Street. Did most of y'all know Black Wall Street was only one of many communities that got burned down? The only thing that that white society needed was just a reason, and they were coming because it was jealousy involved. We was supposed to come over here and be independent and thrive. We was always meant to be in servitude and dependent and be the burden bearers for everyone else. That's why every other person comes into this nation that can seem to get up above us, but we always stuck in the same spot. Sure, we got the little Oprahs and the little Michael Jordans and the athletes and stuff like that, the Beyoncés and the Jay-Z's. Those are outliers, but by and large, those are multimillionaires, and in large part, that don't apply to most of us. So you have a young man saying, this is, like I said, this is the reason why we can't get out of our situation. We didn't do it. We didn't do it. It was done to us. We didn't do it. But when you got people that have short-term memory loss and Stockholm syndrome with the oppressor or the dominant society, and I'm not even mad at I'm not even blaming white folks for this. I'm talking about Roland and people like of his ilk. That's who I'm talking about. When you have a young man that is stricken out and tried to do something to better his community that's going to affect the lives of black men, young black boys, and young black boys grow up to be black men, and black men take families. They take black women as wives. They're supposed to. I'm gonna get into that in a second. And they make families and they create families, and this is the way you turn a community around. It's through the family, but you have to start with the foundation and the boys of the foundation. Anytime somebody focus on something there's no point in you trying to repair a rail on a bridge if the bridge itself is faulty and is about to collapse and the foundation of the bridge is no good. What are you going to put rails up for? So when the bridge crumbles, because it's getting ready to crumble, everything going to end up in the river? The road broken, it's got holes in it, the support beams are bad. You won't fix nothing that's supposed to be the foundation of it, but you're going to fix the aesthetic things of the daggone bridge. You're going to be right in the river. And that's all we do in this community, because that's all we've been taught to do in this community. That's why we accept tokens. Barack Obama was a token. Kamala Harris is a token. They know all they have to do is dangle tokens in front of us. And we go for it. Hook, line, and sinker. You got Ice Cube out here. You got Ice Cube out here with a plan for Black America and went around trying to talk to our people. And it was our people who challenged him. It was our people who told. I remember D.L. and I used to like D.L. Hughley, but I remember D.L. Hughley told Ice Cube to shut up. We told him, shut up, stick to making child movies. This our people. Not knowing that this man had conference and met and consorted with experts. It wasn't Ice Cube's. Ice Cube just happened to be the person that brought it all together. But it was financial experts, cultural experts, historians, people that was experts in Black studies. Ice Cube got with them, and he said it's still evolving. They brought Vivica Fox, old funky self, brought him on her show. And she said, I don't see nothing here for Black women. What are you talking about? Black people and Black women. Oh my God. Ooh. Hold on for a second. All right, I'm back. I had to cool my head for a second. But this is the reason why. It's the reason why we can't get anywhere. Because we don't even believe in ourselves. And every time we get somebody that comes along that's going to truly make a difference in our communities, we knock them down. Now I'm gonna show you a different video with Roland. I'm gonna show you a different video with Roland.
During the interview, Johnson talked about a whole range of issues and led to him.
Now, this is Umar Johnson. Now, whether you like Umar Johnson or not, like I said, he's a Pan-African. And I think just like everybody, he has some question marks, but I would not deny that he loves his people. And that's what he speaks about. Okay? It's my belief. I could be wrong. Okay? But the point of this is we got Turkey Neck again, old Roland Martin. We got him again. Now, Umar Johnson said some things that are unpopular on the Breakfast Club. Okay? He said some things that was unpopular. It's hard for people to hear it. But you need to, just because something is unpopular and you don't want to hear it, sometimes it's best to listen to all perspectives and points of view. Because we're not a monolith in the African American community. We're not. So anyway, look at Roland. Oh my goodness.
Him being the talk of Black Twitter last week, and a lot of people were questioning his educational credentials.
Now, people ask me, what can we expect from a Donald Trump White House for Black America? And the answer is real simple. You can expect exactly what you got from a Obama White House. Absolutely nothing. Black people know they're not American, but they will fight like hell to protect that identity because they don't want to be identified with who they really are, and that's being African.
Hold on. Let me stop. He's absolutely correct. He's absolutely correct. He is 100% correct. I remember putting on Facebook a couple of years ago that Black is not an ethnicity. Black is a color. And I remember having this girl come on there and she said to me, and I was flabbergasted, and she said to me, I'm not African, I'm Black. And she said, I know I'm descended from Africans, but I'm not African. I'm American. And the thing about Black folks is they don't even understand that's exactly what the dominant society wanted for you to do. To not identify with what you truly, really are. See, when you're scripted and you're baseless and you don't have a culture and you don't have a moral compass and you don't have any leaders or elders that's guiding you, you're at the mercy of what these people want to do to you. But let's continue.
As long as you have a skill, you can always feed your family. But if all you got is college degrees, you might end up in the unemployment line. I'm a psychologist. Ain't too many Black people running around looking for a psychologist to reveal all the skeletons in their closet.
All right, folks, joining us right now, Dr. Umar Johnson. Welcome back to the show.
I keep getting these pop-ups. I apologize.
It was amazing looking at this whole reaction. I mean, I'm sitting here, again, people asking all kind of questions, things are blowing up. And so many people jumped on saying he's not a real doctor, okay? Where did you graduate from and you got your PhD?
My undergraduate
this reminded me of something, that question I just asked him, because isn't that it? Why do we always have to explain our credentials? I was thinking about, because there's a car that I'm getting ready to purchase. As a matter of fact, I was talking to my wife about it today. And I was thinking about today, go ahead and putting a deposit on the car because it's basically on back order for like 18 months to 2 years. So I'm like, well, let me go ahead and put my deposit. But I was thinking about it in terms of the day of when I come to Georgia, whenever I come to Georgia in one of my cars or whatever, usually I have to deal with some knuckleheaded cop pulling me over, um, um, and asking me crazy questions like, "Whose car is this?" or "What do you do for a living?" Because we know that we as African American men, everything that we can do can't be on the, everything that we do can't be on the up and up. So we always got to explain and qualify what we do and how we obtain what we're obtaining. It's just sickening.
Education was from Millersville University. 3 degrees, political science, psychology, master's in school psychology. Subsequent to that, Pennsylvania certification as a school psychologist, which I've been for almost 20 years. After that, I got my educational leadership master's degree and principal certificate from Lehigh University in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And I earned my doctorate degree from the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, American Psychological Association approved program, one of the top psychology training programs on the East Coast. 6 degrees in all. And anyone can lift up a telephone and call and verify those degrees.
So when you see folks who question your degrees, your response?
It's because my narrative is a whole lot different from the average mainstream Black scholar. I don't parrot the narrative that the American social order wants Black scholars to parrot. I tell the truth. I don't scratch unless I itch, and I don't dance unless I like the music. And because they're not used to having someone with a traditional education posit non-traditional views, people will automatically start to question his credentials. How did he get this far believing what he believes in? Well, you have to play the spook who sat by the door. When I got accepted into those 3 universities, they didn't know what I believed.
Let me fast forward because I want to get to the cusp of this interview, because Roland's going to get him to explain certain things. I'm not trying to have that on,
Things.
No, he married white women. But you said
the product of an interracial children being raised by work.
You talked about a variety of issues that also got people talking.
Okay.
One of them dealt with your views on interracial marriage.
Yes, sir.
And so so explain that for folks who did not hear it.
Certainly. Simply put, any Black man who is with a woman who's not an African herself is going to have a difficult time getting respect from me. I believe Black men need to be with Black women. The Black family is under attack. Only 1 out of every 4 Black women gets married. The Black woman is last likely to get married. She's the last married, the first divorced. We have what? 2/3 of our children being raised by working class and impoverished single Black female-led households. The destruction of a nation begins in the home of its families. And if we want to save Black people, we have to save the Black family. And in order to do that, Black men have to commit themselves to Black women.
Now, see, here's the thing. I agree with about 75% of everything Umar Johnson just said. I do believe the Black family is up under attack. Black women are the least married, but the most divorced. 2/3 of our children are in home, hemmed by single Black mothers. But how do we get there? And I agree with him saying that Black men should, because of a responsibility and duty that we're supposed to have to our particular people, should marry Black women. But we live in a melting pot society, and in that society, there are certain social constructs and there are certain things that have happened to the Black family that makes it nearly impossible for a Black man, even if he marries a Black woman, to stay at the hem of his family. Okay? So we just can't say that because a Black man married a white woman that he doesn't love himself, because it's more to that. In large part, we have a woman, African American, that has been taught from generations that she cannot rely on her man. That has been instilled in her by the dominant society and echoed through her by the matriarchs in her family. So she grows up believing these things. So when it's time to pair up with a Black man, there's no respect for the Black man. And not every, and I have to say this because I have to qualify my statements, because people get in their emotions and feelings. Not every African American woman is like this. Not every African American woman like that, but by and large part, majority are. And you got these men coming out of this situation thinking they're going to marry a woman and she's going to respect and value him the same way that he respects and value her, and it's just not true. And until we stop coddling our women and give them some hard truths and get them to come back and stop believing the lie that they were told, then we can have an improvement in our family values. Because make no mistake about it, and I can pull it up online right now, that the Black family didn't take a nosedive as far as marriages and broken homes and divorces didn't start to be a pandemic and an epidemic in our community. You had two main factors. Okay. One, you had welfare that was propagated in the late 1960s, early 70s. So what it did was it effectively gave our women a way out of a situation if she didn't want to be in. Well, you got a third factor that came into that. Then you have no-fault divorces in the 1980s. So you already have a family that where the Black man has been made obsolete. They took all his jobs away and sent them overseas. Umar Johnson said something early on during this video. What he said was, if you have a skill, you can feed your family. But the problem with that is that the skills that Black men used to have, or our uncles and our grandfathers, what they once had, they're no longer applicable. You can't just go down here and get a factory job anymore. They moved all the factories overseas, or they took them to Mexico. So you can have a skill and a trade, but you're going to have to do it. You're going to have a different set of skills and trades, because the trades that our grandfathers and our fathers and our great grandfathers used to have do not apply anymore. So when they took the jobs out of the communities, they took the jobs away from Black men, feminism, Black women, that's what you co-signed on. And then you offered the woman welfare. The government said, I will be your husband. I will be in the bed with you. You just can't have another man in this home. You made the Black man obsolete. These are the things that are not being talked about and discussed. It's not just because Black men didn't want to be home with their families. Take it from a Black man that has actually lost a job. It's one of the worst feelings in the world to have your family relied upon on your income, and you cannot bring nothing to the table. It makes you feel less than. Then we have the Iran-Contra scandal. For everybody that want to vote for Joe Biden, you have the Iran-Contra scandal, to where our beloved President Ronald Reagan, since he seems to be the darling of the Republican Party, and this is why I don't ascribe to any party in this country, wanted democracy, quote unquote, in Nicaragua. But Congress, seeing that the Nicaraguan drug lords, or the guerrillas, were making their money off of drug sales. So Congress say, no, we're not helping you. So what did the president do? What the president did was, we had Marines taken captive in Iran. We had soldiers. Well, no, they was taken captive in Beirut. Anywho, we needed to free those hostages. So we made an arms deal with Iran. So now you hear all this stuff about Iran is bad, Iran is this. Bull crap. You don't know that the United States for centuries have been double dipping. They was giving Saddam Hussein weapons and money and all of these things at the same time, giving Iran money and weapons. And this was during the Iran-Iraqi war between 1980 and 1988, the same years that President Reagan was in office. Saddam decided, and I'm going to I'm just going to give y'all some history. Saddam decided, you know what? Let's reform the Ottoman Empire. So he invaded Iran because he knew that if he got control of Iran, he would have a greater control of the world's oil supply. And then he turned around and subsequently evaded Kuwait in the late 1989-90s time frame because he owed Kuwait billions of dollars, and Kuwait wouldn't forgive him for the debt that he owed them. So Saddam said, you know what? I'm bigger than you. I'll just invade you. My debt wiped clean. That's what Saddam did. But the entire time, our United States government was double dipping. This is what they were doing. So Ronald Reagan needed to get guns and all these other things to the Nicaraguan guerrillas. So he made a deal with Iran. Seems crazily unrelated, but it's very related. He made a deal with Iran to send them $30 million and send them small arms and firearms to help with their war with Saddam. But Iran never got $30 million. Iran only got about $12 million. The other 22, it went to Nicaragua. And then to continue on that, black folks, y'all gonna love this, especially if you grew up in the crack era. I know I did. So to continue to fund the Nicaraguan Contras, what he did, the CIA, they allowed drugs to be funneled into our communities. Who do you think and where do you think the drugs were coming from? Black folks didn't have no private planes to charter and to land drugs into Miami, into California, into Texas. We didn't have that type of stuff. How do you think it got there? Government planes. It was the way to fund the Contras at the expense of the black community. You have to understand how things happened. When you have full knowledge of how things transpire, then you can make an appropriate decision of how to move forward. Okay? So black men had the job script from them, made less than a man, and to prove that you are a man, black men wanted to be able to provide for their families. So they turned to selling drugs. They sold drugs to their own mamas, to their own brothers, their own sisters, to feel like they're powerful. And guess what? When the Nicaraguan Contras failed to take Nicaragua, the United States pulled the plug on the program. Now we got to do cleanup. So that's why you get all these drug laws that came down the pipe. Mandatory sentencing and all this other bull crap that they did to black men. If a black man had a quarter-sized piece of crack on them, black people had a quarter-sized piece of crack on them, they sent them to jail for 5 years minimum. Joe Biden and Strom Thurmond did that to your community. But anywho, all of these things played into the psychic of our African-American women. The men were taken out of the communities trying to provide. They were locked up in prison. Black women got welfare. The ones that didn't fall to the crack cocaine themselves got welfare. Children was displaced from their homes, living with grandmas and aunties or uncles because mama owned drugs real bad and daddy is locked up. I grew up in the crack era. So I understand what it was and the impact that it had on families. It impacted my family directly. I understand and I know. So that's why I'm passionate about these things that I say. But you can't go around saying that this is the only way that we're going to get our families back together, because first we got to deprogram and heal our women. And in order to be deprogrammed and healed, you got to have a willingness to do so. And the government has further incentivized black women to stay away from black men. And black men have gotten to the point to where they're tired. They don't want to try. So although I personally don't encourage interracial marriages, when I see it happen, I'm not mad at the brother. Because he's with somebody because he's respected and valued, and he don't have to go through all that contempt. So you can say that you will find it hard for black men to get your respect, but understand why they're doing it. But I digress. Let's go.
So when you talk about not getting your respect, so if that's the case, you're saying President Barack Obama to get your respect because his dad married a white woman?
Oh, not at all.
Would Harry Belafonte?
Not at all. I want to be very clear about something. As Pan-Africanists, the product of an interracial union is an African. I have heroes who are biracial. Some of the grandfathers of Pan-Africanism were of mixed racial ancestry. You don't blame a child for how they got here.
But I'm asking you this here. Harry Belafonte has a white wife. No respect for him?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your social status.
So no.
See, this is why I don't like Roland. I mean, I would say technically as a journalist, he's doing his job by pressing, but his pressing has an agenda. Now, despite the fact that I disagree with Umar Johnson's premise, I mean, I don't disagree with his premise, but I disagree with how we are supposed to get there. I understand why he's saying black men should be with black women, because I wholeheartedly agree. He's saying Africans need to be with Africans. That's what he's saying. I understand all that because he's saying we need to build up our people. And this is how we do it. And he doesn't need, because Umar is very articulate, so he don't need me helping him articulate his thought process. But that's the point that he's trying to make. And Roland is trying to get caught up on the hook.
I didn't say social. I'm talking about the one who put the work.
Right, but you put him out.
No. I'm asking you. So Harry Belafonte.
Yes, sir.
Sidney Poitier, Julian Bond, Vernon Jordan.
And you're naming all them to say what?
No, these are all African American men who have
done some good things.
No, who married white women. But you said any black man who marries a white woman will not get your respect.
Can I respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
And what I'm telling you is this: I don't care who you name. I don't care how much work you did for black people. Your greatest commitment to black people is being committed to a black woman. It is still a contradiction. No matter how much you think you did for the struggle, if you really were concerned with black people, you would have committed yourself to a black woman. So it doesn't matter how successful they are. It doesn't matter how great you may claim them to be. At the end of the day, you didn't think enough about your own people to marry a woman who looks like you.
Frederick Douglass.
Yes, sir.
He keep naming off of these names. He keep naming off this name. I think Umar has made his point, but let's move forward. Because I don't want to hear this stuff about they're talking about Frederick Douglass, because the man is a kinsman to Frederick Douglass.
Then sure, Maryland. He married Grandmom Annie. They had grandma. And the reason I say Breakfast Club, now it has to be put in white man's prize. His queen is a psychological. I don't care how much work you think you've done for black folks to not commit yourself to a black woman.
Hold tight 1 second. I got more questions when we come back.
I would argue the reason black men marry white women is because they wish they were white themselves. And having the white man's prize, his queen, is a psychological symbol to myself that I am equal to him.
We're back with Dr. Umar Johnson.
I disagree with that, Umar. I don't think that's why black men marry white women at all. I think it's really simple. Every man wants to have a soft place to land. Every man wants to be spoken to with respect. And when they feel that they can't get it from their own kinsmen or their sisters, they go elsewhere. It's too easy. If I'm going to, I say this stuff all the time. If I'm going to, if I'm trying to find an Alfa Romeo Giulia Quattrofoglio, I am not going to the Toyota dealership. I'm going to Alfa Romeo.
In that particular statement, the family also addressed this here. You talked about taking over the buildings or the Lauren.
So the question of interracial marriage,
Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
come on, man. You're too smart for this. We got
Come on, what?
43.
I'm too smart for what?
We got 43 million black people in this country.
And
We
that
got
means
over
what?
190 million white people. You're going to sit here and say that if
And you
a
got
black
half the
person,
black
a white person get married, a black person, white person get married, one can't understand the other person's struggle. You've seen Tim.
See that? See, this is this guy here, right here with the gold tie on. See this little, I don't know, this little jacked up fella looking here, and she looked jacked up too, like she got one of those 1990s S curls in her head. But This guy right here is the only person that's willing to listen to him. You can tell how he's posturing. See how he has his hands folded. See how he's has to see. This is a subconscious thing when you're listening. You tilt your head upwards so you can better hear. When you look at that face. She's argumentative. Now, Umar didn't say anything about somebody not being able to understand someone's culture. What he said was the black family is under attack, and I believe that black men should commit themselves to black women. Perfectly clear. As I said, I don't have to agree with how we get there, but I can understand and agree and support your premise.
Wise, right? You've seen
It's
Reverend
about
Wallace. You've
systematic
seen white people who
empowerment.
understand racism very well.
That doesn't
The
mean they're
other
going to
thing,
do
the
anything
other
about
thing
it.
that is obviously true is they understand racism when you see things like the murder of Medgar Evers, like the murder of Martin Luther King. They understand racism
And
just
what
fine.
did they do
They
about it?
understand us gaining just fine, and that's why murder happened.
Based on
right?
what?
So the idea that somehow a white person can't understand our struggle,
I
no
could
way.
care less what they understand. I'm
No
asking
way.
you, what have they done systematically
He already
to
told you
improve
that.
the opportunities
He
of white
already
folks?
told you
He
that.
did not tell
Oh,
me
yes,
that.
you did tell
He
tell
did
you
not
that.
tell me that.
You're going to tell me that guys like Tim Wise and Reverend Wallace don't understand
What about
race in America?
Tim Wise?
They don't understand race
He
in America?
articulates
They don't
racism,
so
but
all,
what has he done to
there are no white
systematically
people that understand race in
eliminate it?
America?
There's not
no
a
white
white
people.
person
There's
in
no white.
America.
I'm letting this play out because I want y'all to see the foolery. Okay. You got one person that's talking about doing things that empower a family, and you got somebody else that's art. But this is this boule class. They want us to be in order to be accepted.
People understand race in America.
There's not a white person.
Them going to you, Jim.
Eliminate the white privilege that they benefit from vis-a-vis your oppression.
You're lying.
You know,
Eugene,
100.
I'm not going to go there. We're not. I haven't.
Calling me a liar, and you're cool.
Well, it's a fact that
Why are people like these people up on this panel? Why are you mad? Because this man, we do that is through family. I say this regularly, especially the ones that I've known are not racist. People are racially insensitive because white people do not have to deal with black society and black culture. We need to have our own. People can truly only be superior to you if that you're participating in their game. When you have white privilege, you want to have to qualify yourself because we live in a white dominated society through that society. What our appearance is like determine what is a workplace, despite that it may not, people sitting on the panel cannot understand because they're not in love with themselves. Simulated American mindset. So no, I'm really good with everybody I have, but I'm talking about close friends. I got a very close friend that's white. And I've had to sit down and explain certain things to him. He didn't know. He wasn't trained. Matter of fact, he's married to an African woman. She African. She not African American. She African. And once I explained it to him, he said, I didn't know that. Because I'm not saying that you're less than. And I will admit and white supremacy, if you have white friends, to just say this is white privilege. You have the ability just because you're white. And I am treated less than. The Constitution is automatically afforded to you. I have to fight just to get them recognized. That's white privilege. Anyway, I digress. Let's keep moving.
Everybody, 1 second. The N-word, I don't allow coon, but I do not use racial epithets. No.
So the language
I tend to agree with is that black woman, then she can never support and comfort and value your day-to-day struggle as a black man.
It's because of the Roland Martins and the dominant society inability to heal. There is nothing that we're going to be able to do to change our fortunes around in this country. So here's what I encourage African American men and my African American sisters. I think we should leave. Doesn't have the resources to do so, but I really do think we should leave. And I think that we're going to have to leave in large quantities and start communities in Africa. and become a tribe, reestablish ourselves as a particular tribe, or I think we're going to have to leave in pockets and reintegrate on the tribes that we're descended from. You have African ancestry now that can tell you your DNA. I got mine coming too. You can reintegrate third generation, second generation. Yeah, my son Ara is Yoruba. Ara is a Yoruba baby. He's a Yoruba baby. And I think, especially to my African American men, it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better because of the Roland Martins of the world. So I think that we need to leave. That's my solution. That's why I started this page on the Reconstruction Project. Now, I'm going to touch on certain issues on this page, but mainly it's focusing on teaching African-American men who they really are in the Most High and how we need to repopulate back to Africa. With that being said, guys, I really thank everybody for tuning in. God bless you guys and shalom.